I'm Tom DeWeese, publisher of the DeWeese Report, and I have some important information for you. But before I present it, let me share a couple of interesting items that you may not have heard before. First, let me ask you this question. Can you survive on less than 26 gallons of water per day to provide for all of your needs, including drinking, cooking, bathing, flushing your toilet, washing your clothes, watering your lawn, washing dishes, or even caring for your pets? And what if you want to entertain guests for the evening or have relatives stay for the weekend? Can you do it? Probably not. But 26 gallons is how much water you will be forced to live on if certain international policies are adopted by your community's mayor, even though the U.S. Geological Survey says Americans need about 100 gallons per day to perform these basic functions. And then there's this item. On an airplane, you are talking pleasantly to a stranger of average appearance. Unexpectedly, the person offers you $10,000 for one night of sex. Now, knowing that there is no danger and this payment is certain, would you accept the offer? Are you shocked by that question? Well, it's more shocking to learn that it is a question from a high school textbook on situation ethics asked of teenagers in their classrooms. Never heard of these things? Well, there is an important reason I brought them up. You see, these items and many more like them were published in my newsletter, the DeWeese Report, over the past several years. Yet I'm sure you didn't read about them in the mainstream media. Now, I've been an activist for the cause of liberty for more than 40 years. I was a youth activist right out of high school. I've been an editor for 2 newspapers. I ran for the state legislature in Ohio when I was only 24. I've managed congressional campaigns and worked on the international policy scene. And I've even debated the issue of the United Nations before a 200-year-old debating society at Cambridge University in England. The DeWeese Report mainly focuses on issues like the assault on private property rights, the struggle to protect personal privacy from threats like a national ID card, the growing threat to our national sovereignty and independence from forces like the United Nations, and the tragic and deliberate degrading of our public education system that leaves our children lacking in academic knowledge, and most recently, the threat of illegal immigration. I'm proud of my newsletter, and frankly, I wanted to produce this DVD so I could personally show you who I am, what my newsletter is about, and why I'm sure you will find it valuable as you try to make sense of the mess we live in today. And I hope, after I've told you a little more about it, that you will consider subscribing. So let me tell you a little more about what you'll find on the pages of the DeWeese Report. You'll find outrageous quotes from those responsible for some of our most dangerous policies. Take this one, for example, from a man I've called the most dangerous man in the world, Maurice Strong. He was the number 2 guy at the United Nations. He said, quote, "Isn't the only hope for the planet that the industrialized nations collapse? Isn't it our responsibility to bring that about?" End quote. Now, does that give you some idea as to why I regularly write about how dangerous I think the UN is to our national sovereignty and our independence? I put such quotes on a page of the newsletter under the heading, Resistance to Reason, and I've got a lot of them. Now, in another section I call Absolutes, you'll find quick-to-read short items of some of the crazy things that are happening around the nation. Like the 6-year-old little boy who was suspended from school for kissing a little girl he liked in his class. The school officials actually charged him with sexual harassment. I'm not making this stuff up. It really happens. Sometimes I feel like I'm giving a report on Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update. In my Insiders Report section, you'll find up-to-the-minute reports on important legislation facing lawmakers that may threaten our liberty. And to respond, I'll give you details on the legislation, names of the perpetrators, phone numbers to call, and what action needs to be taken. And occasionally, I write special sections called Tyranny's Victims and Freedom's Heroes. These are special stories about those who have suffered from oppressive government policy and those who have stood up against it to fight for their rights. Over the years, I've featured ranchers and farmers who faced losing their property to radical environmental policies, to parents who risked losing their children to government social workers because they wanted to homeschool, and many more stories of those facing a growing tyranny in our nation. And finally, there is a regular feature called Spotlight on Tyranny. Who are the culprits responsible for many of the outrageous policies which threaten your liberty? Who are behind the headlines, pressuring your elected officials to throw away their common sense, and why? I name names. I dig out the details and the hidden agendas. The truth is, the DeWeese Report is dedicated to freedom and exposes anyone or any organization which threatens it, be they Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. The DeWeese Report is plain talking, concise, and right on target. I believe that it's the one publication that you'll anxiously wait for each month. Actually, I get letters every month from readers saying exactly that. The fact is, I've been doing it for 13 years, and now many of the items I reported on clear back in the 1990s are today right there on the front pages of your newspaper and in other newsletters. And you know, back when I first reported it, they said I was crazy. Well, nobody's laughing now. Well, that's what my newsletter is all about. I would really like you to subscribe. So here is my best offer to get you to try the DeWeese Report today. For the first time ever, the DeWeese Report is available online. That means I can offer you a big savings over the price of the printed version, which would cost you $75 per year. You can now have your copy of the DeWeese Report online for less than $60 per year. The good news is you don't have to wait for a printed copy to be mailed to you each month. As soon as I've written it, I will send it directly to you by email. You get some valuable extras, including 3 vital bonus reports. The first and most important is entitled Dawn of the Era of Commonism. Now, you heard me correctly. Not communism, but commonism. You've heard of the drive for common borders, common currencies, and common markets in a world described as a global commons. This vital report gives you all the shocking details of where it comes from, who's behind it, and tells you why it's a threat to our national independence and individual liberty. And you can only get it by subscribing to the DeWeese Report. The second bonus report is my North American Union fact sheet. Now, you may have heard the rumors of efforts to merge Canada, Mexico, and the United States into a European-style union. The report provides all the details. And the third bonus report is entitled Understanding Sustainable Development and Agenda 21. Another name for communism is sustainable development, and I report on it a lot in my newsletter. This report gives you all the details on a policy that is seeping into every aspect of our lives. I promise you that I hold nothing back as I write the pages of the DeWeese Report. I'll tell you the truth, and when I do, sometimes I make the power brokers squirm. My articles are well researched. After 40 years of activism and over 13 years of publishing the DeWeese Report, I've built an extensive and effective network of insiders and activist leaders supplying me with information from across the nation. Once you've read my special reports and begin reading more details in the monthly pages of the DeWeese Report, you will be better informed than 99% of your fellow Americans. This I guarantee. So won't you give it a try and subscribe today? There is no risk. If you want to cancel any time within the first 3 weeks, I'll give you back 100% of your subscription fee. So please, visit the web address that is on your computer screen, and in just 2 minutes, you will have access to everything I've promised you, the latest issue of the newsletter, the special reports, and even 2 years of archived DeWeese reports. Just click right now. Thank you.